Fuck you, the fuck you, the fuck you, bitch ass. Fuck you, the fuck you, your bitch ass.
400 is Nutcase and 300 is Stubby ENT. So
What we on, what's the deal? Cash Rules Global TV, tapping in, back at it again. Just open up them trap doors, get ready to whip this content, push it out, and get it going, bird. And if you happen to be new to the channel, bang that subscribe button, spam up that like button next. We finna get to these YouTube streets. Before that, remember the first 10 members is getting free merch, you feel me? Simple, point blank. And then on top of that, you're gonna get exclusive access to the hood vlog with Fonte from FOD, A5. Now, y'all wanted to hear about all the politics in Northern California, what's been going on in the East, in the town in Oakland, and Frisco, wherever it may have you. You know what I'm saying? Up, back, down, and around. I'm gonna bring y'all the origin of where this all started and how this ended up heading where it's heading. Globes in the chat.
is having its worst year since 1992. It's November, and the city has over 125 homicides. This gives it one of the top 5 highest rates in the country. Many Bay Area residents are wondering what in the world is going on. But here's the thing, it's really not all that complicated. They tell you everything you need to know in their music. Now, I assume that most of you aren't as bored as I am, so you probably have no interest in looking into it yourself. But me? Yeah, I took the time to put everything together. Why, might you be asking?
Hey, y'all let me know. Do y'all think Swamp Stories really just find out all this information from songs and the internet and IG and TikTok?
Leon Wiley and his friend DeMarcus Rawls. Both were residents of the Acorn Apartments in West Oakland. Leon Wiley's nickname was Tweezy, and Tweezy's name was known all over Oakland, and not for good reasons. In fact, he was feared by most, if not all. Well, it all started when Tweezy fell out with a group of guys right down the street. About 4 blocks away from Acorn, you have Campbell Village. Acorn and Campbell were at odds over some minor disagreements. Well, Tweezy would put that issue to sleep. Literally. Bam! Due to
I hate Swamp Stories.
their reputation, Tweezy started calling him and his friends the Nutcase, and then they became known as the 400. And their game plan was Shaquille O'Neal. Dominate. They were not going to let anyone get in their way. It didn't matter how old.
Pay attention to where they started from in the West. Normally, the West stay in the West and the East stay in the East. The North stay in the North. Berkeley, they stay where they at. Now it's about to get tricky. That's why it was all type of shit going on in the latest video I put on with Tear It Off, linking up with Case and EBK.
What, where, and when. The Nutcase were going to get their way no matter what. But they quickly realized that it was hard to do it alone. They needed to add to their roster. And that's exactly what they did. They made allies with East Oakland's strongest sections. Their first addition was Bossland. Boss stands for Birch, Olive, and Sunnyside, which are the streets they cover. But then, Nutcase added 88th shortly after, but more specifically, the Hillside Apartments. This was a new phenomenon in Oakland. It used to be that everyone had their own identity, so this teaming up stuff was brand new.
I ain't gonna lie, Swamp Stories act like he know what he talking about, but that's a well-known fact. We bang hood. Wherever you from, that's where you from. You from High Street, you from High Street. From 35th, you from 35th. You from Seminary and Mac, from Seminary. You from 6-4, you from 6-4. You from 73rd, 76, wherever you from. 9-0, I ain't leaving. It ain't nothing. I ain't naming all of them. But that's where you from. You from downtown, shit. That's where you at.
And for the next 8 years, Nutcase would continue expanding. They would add an area called 55th, also known as 557. They're located
Diamond City. Shout out to Purse Gotti G.
right up the street from Seminary. So let me break down the original Nutcase.
Y'all know him as Mitchell. That's where he's from.
Bossland, 88th, and 55th. And at this point, it was just unfair. It was like when Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, like a ridiculous all-star roster. So naturally, the rest of Oakland was like, hey, we need to team up as well, or else we will not have a chance out here. But that wouldn't start happening until November 6, 2010. That's the day that two 18-year-olds, Ed Hampton and Nario Jackson, are sitting in their car in West Oakland. That's when Nicholas Harris pulls up, and bam! So that's when West Oakland's ghost town decided that enough is enough. They would band together with the rest of West Oakland, except for Acorn, of course.
Which is unheard of. Everything that he's saying is unheard of, new charted territory. I promise you that.
And together, they would call themselves ENT, Ed Nario Team. They would also adopt the nickname Stubby and the number 300. So let me clarify again. 400 is Nutcase and 300 is Stubby ENT. So Stubby.
Shout out to Bill. I see you, Troy. You know what I'm saying? Corey, everybody. Yeah.
Stubby would continue to expand as well, as they needed strongholds in the East to match the Case expansion. So this was the start of 300 versus 400. So let's get into it. Well, the new generation of Case would face internal affairs before anything. April 21st, 2012. A group of teens are hanging out at the park on 77th. That's when Shantae Daniels gets into a disagreement with his close friend. Bam! January 7th, 2013. Tyrante Mickens would be sitting in his car on 77th and Hamilton. Bam! This right here would be a huge loss for Case. You hear them talk about him all the time, still to this day. Well, they would pop out a few months later and in a major way. June 27th, 2013. This is the recount of a woman named Michelle Nelson, as she told OPD back in 2014. Stubby's William Ward, also known as Wheeze, was living on 84th at the time, and that's where he and other Stubby would hang out. Well, on June 27th, he would be outside with a group.
You peeped what he said on 84th. Where do Case be? On 88. Hillside runs all through there. 70s as well. Sheesh. This is spunky. Remember, this is 2012, 2013. And it is still running rampant today.
Group of friends. Well, Michelle notices that his friends vanish off behind him, and Wheeze would be standing out there alone for a few seconds. That's when a blue car pulls up, and bang! The aftermath. This is when things get interesting. A friend of William Ward would say that a girl called him right after and told him that it was a man named DeMonte Starks, also known as Biggs. This was still not enough, so a man named Eddie Williams would volunteer to help out under one condition. Eddie wanted them to help his family out with legal issues. Both sides would agree. Eddie Williams would wear a wire and be placed with DeMonte Starks. Eddie would ask DeMonte what happened on June 27th. DeMonte, who thought Eddie was his friend, would tell him everything. So Eddie would leave after getting what he wanted. He would
mind you, that is not normal out here in town. Not normal at all.
Run
and get your ass dusted off of that.
Yelling, I got him. We did it. We did it. And he's right. They did do it. August 14th, 2014. Case's Norman Lewis, also known as Norm, would be on 80th and Alder. Bam. Now, this wasn't nearly close to everything that's happened over this time span, but it was really the most important events. So let's skip ahead to what's known as the fourth generation, the new era of Oakland. Case and Stubby are pretty much everywhere now. So let me break down the new era. Let's start with Case. In West Oakland, Case covers Acorn, which is represented by Yid, and most importantly, Kato. He recently got famous for his hit song, Go Off.
And you can't tell them who represents their side. They all represent it.
Then in North Oakland, Case covers Ice City, which is represented by Lil Rod and Lil Freezem. This is actually the neighborhood that Marshawn Lynch is from. Now let's head to East Oakland. Well, this is where it gets crazy. They now cover most of the 20s, also known as the Dubs. They're represented by Oakland's two biggest rappers, Offset Jim and All Black. Then they cover an area of East Oakland called Fairfax. They're represented by Fredo Bags and Kai Benji, who's from High Street. Those two are pretty much top dogs right now in Oakland. Then you have the 69th Village, who's represented by Repossession Rin. Then Case also covers the 88th Hillside Apartments, which is represented by Yachty Benji. And yo, this is how he looked a year ago. And this is how he looks now. He went from Charles Barkley to Sam Cassell in just 1 year. Then finally, you have Bossland, which is represented by Bossland Chris, Zayel, DNI Mike, and Capolo. Wow, so that's all 400 now. Case covers all that area, but Stubby has expanded as well. They cover Ghost Town in West Oakland, 77th, 73rd, and the Alphabets. The Alphabets are A through D Street in East Oakland. Stubby is represented by a rapper named Spidey.
Mind you, all these blocks intertwine. You can get to these streets. You gotta pass through these streets to get to the other one. Crazy.
Well, Stubby is no longer alone in this battle. A new number has risen in Oakland. 200, also known as Two Letters. They are close allies with Stubby, so essentially 200 and 300 are the same thing. Well, 200 are represented by a rapper named Cold Game, who's from San Leandro. All Black would call him out on a song saying, "They bang in the suburbs like they Cold Game." But 200 also have a rapper named Ace Rico, and he's from the same neighborhood as All Black. So all of this is messy. But Case say that Ace Rico is from the suburbs of San Leandro anyway. Anyways, 200 occupy the Alvin Groom's apartments in East Oakland as well. So if you look at a map, this is what Oakland looks like now.
Look at how tricky and sticky they done got in the town. Remember I said your block and the people you grew up with, that might as well be your gang. Now this shit is stay smart, stay dangerous.
Everything has changed. So let's get into the important events. Well, actually, I'm not going to do the whole BAM thing. I'll just list off what happened. It's way too much to cover. Recently,
and that's how that went. I'm gonna give you a few more details on this, and that's how everything got to today.
And can also be members of the Ghost Town gang, given their close alliance. The war had just begun. On October 30th, 2010, at heights with no slowing down, the Case gang continued to expand and extend their reach.
Nigga, slide through, nigga. Bitch ass niggas, get your whip flip, nigga. Fuck you talking. Money team affiliated, 100 rounds for demonstration, you bitch ass niggas.
One particular apartment complex became a Case gang headquarters. Oakland's worst housing complex sits at the end of a dead-end street, off 87th Avenue, adjacent to Castlemont High School. The buildings have descended into chaos, without security or management. Here, in what looks like a two-building fortress, the Case gang has rooted itself, openly brandishing guns, dealing drugs.
Hey, and that's that, y'all. Threes versus foes, Stubby versus Case. Let me know what y'all think about that. You think it's gonna keep getting spunkier and spunkier, or the streets is gonna die down and they a myth? Remember, all money ain't good money, and slow motion damn sure better than no motion. If you're new to the channel, bang that subscribe button. Make sure you spam up that like button next. You become a member, you're gonna get some free merch and access to that exclusive hood vlog with FOD Fonte. And we're gonna keep them trap doors open.
Intellectual street YouTuber. It's either in you or it's on you. No in between. Intellectual street YouTuber. It's either in you or it's on you. No in between.